Our story begins on the sun-drenched plains of East Africa, nearly 200,000 years ago, with the emergence of Homo sapiens. For millennia, we lived as small bands of hunter-gatherers, deeply connected to the land. But a restless curiosity drove us onward, sparking the Great Dispersal around 60,000 years ago. A few hundred pioneers left Africa, facing new climates and dangers, yet persevering through sheer resilience. Their slow generational journey across continents shaped the very essence of humanity, adaptable, enduring, always moving. The story of migration is the story of us, a journey that began in Africa and continues in every search for a new home. Our ancestors inherited a world of beauty and danger, a place where survival depended on both instinct and ingenuity. Each sunrise brought new challenges, predators, storms, and the constant search for food and shelter. Living as nomads, they were always in motion, following the rhythms of the land and the migrations of animals. Their lives were shaped by the seasons and the shifting landscapes they called home. The ice ages transformed the earth, revealing land bridges and new frontiers. Vast glaciers carved valleys and opened up routes that would connect continents for the first time. Around 60,000 years ago, a small band left Africa, venturing into the Middle East and beyond. This journey was the beginning of humanity's greatest adventure, one that would span thousands of years and countless miles. Their migration was slow, unfolding over generations, marked by adaptation to jungles, steppes, and coasts. They innovated, crafting tools, building social bonds, and learning to communicate in new ways. Each discovery made life a little easier, and every lesson was passed down. They learned to thrive in every environment, from dense forests to icy tundra, mastering the skills needed to survive wherever they roamed. These first migrants carried only knowledge and resilience, leaving footprints across Asia, the Americas, and Australia. Their courage and curiosity drove them ever onward into the unknown. By 15,000 years ago, humans had reached every habitable continent, settling in lands as diverse as rainforests, deserts, and windswept coasts. This epic journey, achieved with stone tools and determination, remains one of our greatest survival stories. It is a tale of endurance, creativity, and the will to explore. The world's first migrants were unstoppable, their legacy written in the diversity of humanity today. Every face tells a story of ancient journeys and shared origins. Every step they took laid the foundation for future societies, shaping the world we know now. Their story is a testament to the enduring human spirit, a reminder that we are all travelers, shaped by the journeys of those who came before us. The map of the human world began with their courage to move, and their footsteps echo through history, guiding us forward. For most of our history, we wandered. Our ancestors moved with the seasons, following herds and searching for wild fruits and roots. Life was uncertain, but the world was open and movement was a way of life. Then, about 12,000 years ago, a quiet revolution began. Agriculture changed everything. People learned to plant seeds and tend crops, to domesticate animals, and to shape the land itself. Settled life led to villages, towns, and the first cities, centers of innovation, trade, and opportunity. These new communities became magnets for people seeking stability and a better future. Surplus food allowed populations to grow, and new social roles emerged: farmers, artisans, rulers, and traders. Specialization flourished and societies became more complex. Land became property, sparking both cooperation and conflict. Ownership brought new rules, and boundaries began to define who belonged and who did not. Migration now meant more than survival. It was driven by ambition, opportunity, and sometimes necessity. People moved to seek fortune, escape hardship, or find safety. Cities drew people in with promise, but also pushed them out through war, conquest, and inequality. For every new beginning, there were those forced to leave everything behind. The rise of civilization created both beacons of hope and sources of displacement. Cities offered sanctuary and opportunity, but also became places of exclusion and upheaval. Borders and the concept of outsiders took shape, forever altering human movement. The world became divided by lines both real and imagined. Migration became political, an act of seeking, escaping, or resisting. Decisions about who could enter or stay shaped destinies and defined entire eras. The story of humanity split, drawn to cities, yet often forced to flee them. Our greatest achievements and deepest tragedies unfolded side by side. This dynamic, born in the first civilizations, still shapes our world. The echoes of ancient migrations are felt in every modern city. The city's promise and peril continue to define migration. For some, cities are places of celebration and belonging. For others, they are reminders of loss. Our journey became one of both hope and hardship, a search for home that continues to this day. As civilizations grew, so did our search for meaning, giving rise to great religions and new reasons to move. Faith-inspired journeys, Abraham leaving Ur, Moses leading the Exodus, Buddhist monks spreading teachings across Asia. Migration became sacred, a quest for spiritual fulfillment or refuge from persecution. Communities like the Zoroastrian Parsis survived by seeking new homes for their beliefs. Even the Holy Family in Christianity were refugees, fleeing violence. Sacred migrations shaped cultures and preserved identities. The search for home and the search for the divine became intertwined. These journeys remind us that migration is often a matter of both survival and faith. In 7th century Mecca, the Prophet Muhammad's message of justice, compassion, and unity met fierce opposition from the city's powerful leaders. His call for equality and care for the vulnerable challenged the status quo, threatening the interests of those in power. Persecuted for their beliefs, the early Muslims endured years of hardship, isolation, and violence. Facing the real threat of extinction, their faith was tested daily, until an unexpected invitation from the people of Yathrib offered a glimmer of hope and a chance for survival. The Hijrah, their migration to Medina, was a turning point in history, a peaceful, strategic exodus, not a flight of vengeance or anger. It was a journey of trust, courage, and vision, undertaken in the face of immense danger. The Prophet's arrival in Medina united divided tribes, transforming a city torn by conflict into a community of cooperation. Through his leadership, he established a pluralistic society, guided by the groundbreaking Constitution of Medina. This historic pact guaranteed religious freedom, mutual protection, and respect for all, regardless of faith or background. It was a revolutionary step toward coexistence and justice. The Hijrah marked the birth of a new community, one built on mercy, compassion, and shared purpose, not conquest or domination. It set a timeless precedent for migration as an act of building, healing, and renewal, rather than destruction or displacement. The Islamic calendar begins with this journey, a testament to migration's power to transform, heal, and create new beginnings for entire societies. The Hijrah's legacy is one of tolerance, justice, and the enduring strength of community built on shared values. To this day, it remains a model for migration as mercy, a journey that inspires hope, unity, and compassion across generations. Empires rose and fell, driving waves of migration through conquest and collapse. The Roman roads moved armies and merchants, but also exiles and slaves. The Mongol invasions unleashed terror, scattering refugees, yet later secured trade routes that encouraged movement. Religious wars like the Crusades displaced entire populations. The transatlantic slave trade forced millions into brutal exile, creating a diaspora of pain. Modern history repeated these patterns: the Armenian genocide, the partition of India, and countless others. Empire and war have always displaced the vulnerable. Each upheaval left scars and new communities in its wake. Migration became a story of survival amid violence. The legacy of forced movement endures in our world today. The 20th century was the age of the refugee. 2 world wars and new ideologies displaced tens of millions. Borders shifted, empires collapsed, and minorities fled violence and persecution. The Holocaust and totalitarian regimes forced desperate flights for survival. Decolonization and proxy wars from India to Vietnam created new waves of exodus. The world responded with the UN Refugee Convention, recognizing the right to seek asylum, yet the challenge of protecting the displaced remains. The century's upheavals made migration a matter of life and death. Today, people still flee war, poverty, and climate change, but now face fortified borders and complex bureaucracy. Modern migrants risk deadly deserts, perilous seas, and legal limbo. The Sonoran Desert and the Mediterranean have become graveyards for those seeking safety. Camps and detention centers hold lives in suspension, stripped of dignity. Borders are now walls, physical, legal, and bureaucratic. Asylum systems are overwhelmed, often by design. In a connected world, the freedom to move is more restricted than ever. The crisis is not just about movement, but about humanity denied. Behind every migration statistic is a person, a mother, a student, a doctor, a dreamer. They carry stories, trauma, and hope, not passports. Their memories are of home lost, journeys endured, and futures imagined. Labels like illegal dehumanize. No person is illegal. To see the migrant is to recognize shared humanity and dignity. Dehumanization justifies cruelty and builds walls in our hearts. Listening to their stories is the first step to compassion. Their journey is a universal quest for life and security. Migration is a political battleground exposing deep divisions. Nationalist fears frame migrants as threats, fueling walls and exclusion. Others champion human rights, pointing to migrants' contributions and the moral duty to help. Governments struggle between obligations, economic needs, and public opinion, creating inconsistent policies. While nations debate, people remain trapped, families separated, lives on hold. The failure to find humane solutions is a defining challenge of our time. The future of millions, and our societies, depends on how we respond. Migration tests both our politics and our humanity. Myths cloud the migration debate, but evidence tells a different story. Migrants are less likely to commit crimes and often fill vital jobs others won't do. They create businesses, pay taxes, and drive economic growth. Most refugees are hosted by poorer countries, not the wealthy West. Migrants are not the cause of crisis. They are its victims, fleeing instability and violence. The real crisis is political, not numerical. Understanding these truths is key to a humane conversation. Migration is a symptom of deeper global problems. Migration is the story of humanity, resilient, adaptive, always seeking a better life. Every family has a migration story, recent or ancient. The refugee or migrant is a reflection of our shared past. Progress comes from connection, not isolation. As long as there is inequality, people will move. To migrate is human, to welcome is humane.